All right, everybody, how y'all doing tonight? I want to thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of One Objective. I didn't mean to kill the music just like that, but anyways, guys, we got a great show lined up for you tonight. We got Cody Milton, 2018. I know I keep saying 19 for some reason. Kayak Bass. Oh, man, I got my words all mixed up. Here we go. It's starting off great today, James.
I hear you. You got it.
Yeah, KBF. 2018 KBF Angler of the Year. There we go. Man, that's a whole lot to put in there. But we got him calling in here shortly. It's been a little time. It's been nice to have a little breather time, James, with the holiday season and all that. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Oh, I had a great Thanksgiving. How about you?
Oh man, it was amazing. Ate more than I should have ever ate, and I paid for that the last couple of days afterwards. But other than that, man, it was a good Thanksgiving, good time with friends, and good time to kind of relax from work and everything else going on. So, but we're back now. One Objective's back. So, guys, if y'all haven't seen our new hats out, as you see in the video right here, the hat that I'm wearing, make sure you go check them out at OneObjectiveBF.com. Go to the store. I think you got to click on the kill guard, however they got it set up. But anyways, it's in there. Get them for $25. While you're there, if you like kayak fishing, you got a kayak, click on over to the other side and get you a kill guard as well. But these are our new hats, the Richardsons. We're happy to finally have them up, but I'm going to tell you guys, we don't have a lot left. So if you want one, you better get in there and get you one. So, but anyways, yeah, we're really excited to get those in after the debacle with UPS. I'm hoping that package will eventually show up, James.
It might eventually.
One day.
Who knows?
After One Objective finally goes out of business or something, we're like, we're tired of doing this. All of a sudden, a box of hats show up.
Yeah.
But hopefully that never happens. What I'm just saying. We had a great turnout for the Pros Choice One Objective tournament Sunday at South Lake. James, I don't know if you looked at any of the pictures or not, but I ended up having 33 boats show up. I mean, it was a good event. Beautiful weather. The night.
Oh, it seemed like a good event.
Yeah, it was, man. And the day before, crap weather. It was, they were calling for freezing rain, and I was starting to wonder. I was like, man, I hope this don't carry into the next day. But it ended up being a beautiful day. I think it was mid-50s, maybe close to 60. I can't even remember, but it's just a beautiful day to be out on the water. Had a great turn. I want to thank everybody that fished with us this year. It was a fun ride. Great getting out there, meeting everybody, taking pictures of your fish, and we got the Classic coming up this Sunday. So you had to fish 2 of the events to make the Classic. Now Matt's opened it up to you just come fish with us. But the way he's doing it is you had to at least fish 2 events to get in on the extra bonus money that they're going to be giving out for the tournament. So if you ain't fishing none of them, and you fish this one and you win, you'll get your money for the entry fee for that tournament. But there's also some bonus money from the way I'm taking it. It's going to be going along with it. So I was going to try to get the pictures up. I thought about it actually when we had probably about 20 minutes left of the show. I was going to try to let them scroll through so everybody can see them. But if you go on our Facebook or our Instagram and on One Objective, just go check them out. All the nice pictures. All the pictures, some nice fish that was brought in. There wasn't a lot of big bags brought in, though. Scotty Howard and Charlie Davis ended up winning it with 17 pounds. And I think to get a check was like 16 pounds. But after that, the weights really dropped off. It wasn't a lot of guys would bring in a big bass, but then they'd have a bunch of little, 14 inchers to go along with it. It was kind of a tough event for a lot of guys. But first off, before we get Cody on, I just want to thank all our sponsors this year that we've had this year for One Objective. Really great sponsors. I'm hoping that the way it's looking, everything's going to carry into next year with the same sponsors. It's been really good. So But you'll see them scrolling through our page right there. Just guys, when you get a chance, go down to the comments. We got links to all of our sponsors. So just go on there and check them out. Buy something if you really like it. I mean, they got some great stuff. All our sponsors have got some great products, and we believe in everything that we got from them. So, but James, it's getting about that time, brother. It's getting about that. It's Christmas time. It's getting about that time for us to start doing a little giveaway.
Oh yeah, or a big giveaway.
Yeah, not a little giveaway. Not one of these little monthly giveaways that we've been doing with a couple of things here and there, which they've been great giveaways. But this is gonna be really big. Last year, it did really good. I'm thinking it's going to be better this year, James. I think it's going to be a lot better.
I think so.
We got, you see all the companies that are scrolling across the top there. We've got stuff, working on stuff to get in for our Christmas giveaway. So stay tuned, guys. We'll have the way to get entered. We plan on kind of doing that as a live show that day. If we can make everything work out right. Plan on doing it possibly as a live show. So if we can do that, it's going to be a really good show. I'm excited about it. Just hearing about some of the stuff that's coming in. James, I shared with you what Yak Attack and Bonafide's doing. We got Falcon rods. They're sending us some rods in. So it's going to be good. But you know what, James, I think what we need to do this year, especially if we do it live, is we need to do like trivia questions. You know what I mean? Get the people involved. Get the people coming online, listening, watching. Hopefully more than what we got right now. I want to thank Nathan Green and Expediter Guy. Really appreciate you guys coming on. But just plan on doing something different. You know, instead of just drawing names, random people. I think we ought to get people involved and get some people into chats, you know, and do questions. Whoever gets a question right the first when you see it pop up. Because we'll probably have Chris over to help us with it and let him run that deal behind the scenes while me and James is on the camera. And that way we'll have some questions, you know, about OneObjective, about bass fishing, about kayak fishing, whatever. And then we'll pick a winner. Pick a winner from that. So what do you think, James? What do you think about that?
Sounds pretty good to me. Choose multiple winners.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have a prize pack, and you know, we'll have 5 different winners like we did last year. I think we had 5 different winners, but we'll just have to do, you know, 5 different trivias. And there'll be some fill-in stuff between talking fishing, acting like a bunch of dorks, stuff like that. But
oh yeah,
got Dwayne Taff in, got Holden G8. Chris, how you doing, buddy? Thank you for tuning in. So, anyways, we're excited. We got Cody Milton. He's going to be coming on here soon. I know Ike shows is tonight. Actually, you know what? I better go over here and make sure he ain't tried to call in already. Okay. I know the Ike show's tonight. A lot of people going over watching that. It's a lot of shows on Tuesday night now, and we actually normally try to, like we talked about earlier, we're going to start doing our shows on Wednesday. The only reason why we did this is because Cody had an obligation for something else tomorrow, so we wanted to go ahead and get him on. But normally our shows are going to try to shoot back to Wednesday nights, and like I say, our normal. Next week we'll probably get back to our normal flow of trying to post videos on Mondays, show Wednesday, new video on Friday. We've kind of slacked on that a little bit. Holiday season got us a little lazy, but James, you just come out with your Bonafide kayak setup. That video is doing really good right now. A lot of great comments from it. It's been doing really good.
Yeah, it really has. We've had a bunch of, you know, good videos coming out here lately. A lot of support from everybody else. So
yeah,
thanks everybody who's watching them.
Yeah, we really do appreciate that. It means a lot, and all that has subscribed to us. We've really picked up some. I cannot talk tonight, man. I don't know what is wrong with me. It's my grammar. My grammar is way off tonight. Normally it's off, but it's way off tonight.
Your grammar.
My grammar.
Your grammar.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Man, I can't. This ain't beer, I promise you. This is just clear American. This is black cherry water. Just so everybody knows. I'm talking all funny. It's not because of something I'm drinking. But anyways, we got Cody calling in. Let's go ahead and get to the star of the hour here. Hey, Cody, what's going on, man?
How's it going, Josh? It's good to talk to you.
Oh man, it's doing good. How things been going, man?
Man, pretty good. Y'all had some killer shows this year. I've been watching. I've been seeing it go down.
I appreciate it, man.
We have had Jordan Lee, Timmy Horton, all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a good show. It's been kind of we've been trying to get some more of the elite pros and FLW pros on, but it's been kind of a busy time with a lot of them, with the MLF stuff and.
Oh yeah, it's a weird time for them too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a crazy time. It's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
But
yeah, I feel for them.
Oh man. Yeah, sometimes, me and James always had this dream of going pro, and we still got it. But sometimes you look at...
Oh, yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
but you look at what they go through, from day to day and gone all the time and the struggles, and you're kind of like, man, do I really want to do that, But, I mean, yes, I still would.
Know it. It's like now it's like, is it worth it at all? And that's kind of what I was battling with this year. But no, it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. I mean, I think some of those guys that stayed with Bass will be I think they'll be pretty fortunate to have stayed with Bass here 2-3 years later down the road.
Yeah.
But we'll see. It's a pretty wild deal that went down for sure.
Oh yeah, it was kind of like a kick in the butt for Bass and FLW and a trying time for a lot of them,
It really was. I mean, absolutely. And I don't think, it's kind of what you were saying, like, it was as much of a message as I think it was anything. I mean, I think it's just they wanted them to listen to them, So,
yeah.
We'll see. I mean, there's no doubt that, like, I totally don't think anything will, like, in the end come from any of it, but
yeah.
We'll see. It was definitely pretty interesting scenarios, though.
Oh yeah, yeah, and later on,
for sure.
Oh yeah, and later on, I want to kind of get into. Before we get to that, I want to discuss some other things, but later on, I want to kind of get into what the KBF is evolving into, and what the future holds for that.
It's a little bit the same deal.
Yeah, it's a lot of big changes for this year, and like I said, we'll discuss that here in a little while though, but. Casey, later on in the show, we kind of do an in-depth segment. If you've been listening, and James is going to cover a lot of that and talking tackle and everything that you've done for this year. But I kind of want to start off
for sure
talking. All right, we already got a couple of guys. Dwayne Taff, he's congratulating you.
Awesome.
Got a couple of guys on there.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. We've had him on before, so just a really super
That's
guy.
Awesome.
But let's kind of talk a little bit about what it's like right now. I mean, is it still set in? You've won AOY. I mean, I know it's a lot of hours and all that put into doing it. You have finally time to chill out.
It's a lot of hours. Oh, yeah, a lot of miles. And like, to be honest, like, what was kind of weird about it is several of us that were right at the top, had already done the math on it, like had already known, like what it took, what he needed at North Carolina, so on and so on. So it was kind of weird because, I knew after North Carolina that I had won, but it didn't come out till, 4 or 5 weeks later. So it was, that kind of made it a little weird, but, man, I mean, it's totally unbelievable. I mean, obviously that was my goal, and I've always said that I am a lot more of an Angler of the Year type of fisherman than I am than someone that's going to go win a big event,
Yeah.
And it absolutely feels, it feels great. Like I couldn't fathom it being any better, So really fortunate for what has happened this year, for sure.
Yeah. Now, when it kind of goes into, I've seen the question actually come up on the KBF page. People was asking how much vacation time do you need to fish and be competitive in kayak?
That's a
kayak
good
fishing?
question.
So
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I believe this next year might even be less, but pretty much what it took for this year was they took your top 5 trail events, and if I'm not mistaken, they ran about 45 trail events from California to New York to South Florida, and they took your top 5, and they took your top 2 opens, and I think they ran 5 opens from California, Wisconsin to Pennsylvania to Santee Cooper down in South Carolina, and they took your top 2 from there, and they took your top 5 challenge points, which came from either the state that you live in or another surrounding state that you signed up for. But yeah, it was definitely a lot different this year. I mean, it came down. It totally came down till the very end. I mean, with a week left in the year, I had signed up for Arkansas in Mississippi for the state challenge, and I think I drove like 4 hours to Mississippi to go fish for like 4 hours and caught some good fish. So it made it worth it. But yeah, it kind of got crazy there for a little bit. But yeah, to answer that question, I mean, it's if you can take off Fridays, and that's a big thing. They're big about holding their events on Saturdays, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you can get off on Fridays and travel to an event, I mean, you're looking at fishing about 7 events, is what you have to fish to really, to win Angler of the Year or something like that.
Yeah. Now
yeah, it's a commitment, and I think, there was times I was questioning my sanity, but it worked out in the end, I guess.
So talk a little bit about what it takes. Now, I seen your post the other day, and you was talking about, this was your post for the AOY and how many miles driven and just the heartache it goes with it. And all. Talk a little bit about that. Talk about your year. Let's kind of go from the beginning and just talk about, all your events, your worst events, your best events, and, kind of go into a story about it, I guess.
Well, it's like kind of the main thing, I was wanting to express is like, I totally realize a lot of people, don't have the time to go, compete in the events that matter and the competes that you need, the events that you need to score the points to win. And it's just, and I get that. And it's just, man, but it's like, even when you're there, it still sucks. Like, it's not like some just heaven, I mean, you're still down at all the opens. I mean, I remember probably one of the worst practices I had was at Wisconsin, and I ended up finishing second in that open, and been there for 3 days, and never found anything I liked, and just went back on something from about months ago that I'd found down there, and just went down there. It's like, well, there was a bunch of fish spawning down here 3 months ago. Let's go see where they went, and it just kind of, that transpired into, learning something new every day, and, being able to finish second in that event, Yeah. So it was just the whole year, there were several tournaments that just, they worked out for me, and it's like, there were several that didn't, but from Wisconsin and Kentucky Lake, like, I wasn't on much then. It really worked out for me, and it's like, you hear so many people talk about that have won Angler of the Year. It's like, well, that event didn't go exactly right, but it ended up working out for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
it's like, it's hard to not think that I caught some, good gracious, in the end there. But it was a fun year, and I traveled a lot of miles, so, but I'm very fortunate to have been able to finish where I finished, for sure.
Now, did you have much car issues or mechanical issues on the way? I mean,
I did, actually, more than I wanted to post about. I think I had. Now, so what I wrote on Facebook was not exactly correct, because I didn't want people to think I was crazy. I'm pretty sure I ran out of gas 7 times. You know, you can't tell somebody that though.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm pretty sure I ran out of gas 7 or 8 times. But I mean, you know, it's just like every time it was like, oh, you're 30 miles from home. Well, surely you're going to make it from Memphis to Searcy. No, you're running 1.5 miles.
Yeah.
and that's kind of how it went. If it was under 3 miles for me, I'd run to go get gas. If it wasn't, I would call AAA. So.
Yeah. Yeah. What the?
But yeah, and it was weird. My Subaru kind of had a little malfunction all year. It never gave me the actual accurate gauge of gas I had left, so that made it a little difficult throughout the year. But yeah, that was the reason. So, but yeah, that along with the tire blowouts I had and the trailer blowouts I had, it was a long year. I mean, there were several mornings you would have woke up and just thinking like, I mean, in Florida, every year I went there, every trip I made down to Florida, I had a flat tire the morning I woke up to go fish. Like, you get down there on Thursday, in tournament Saturday morning, you wake up early Saturday morning, you're like, Jason, I've got a flat tire. He's like, again? I'm like, yeah, man. And it's like, it just happened. And, you know, every time I went down there, like, we made it happen. I think we ended up pulling a 4th out of Garcia and a 4th out of Kenansville. But it wasn't fun. You know, it's not a glamorous sport. I guess that's kind of the main thing I was trying to get at from that post.
Yeah. It's kind of roughing it. You know what I mean? You go through a lot.
It definitely is. And one thing, like, I definitely want to give a lot of respect, you know, shout outs to is like, I'm not like the only one doing that. Like, there's a lot of people staying in their cars, and I definitely don't take pity in that at all. But yeah, it was a long year, but there was a lot of guys that were, you know, right there with me. I mean, you know, Eric Siddiqui was pretty much there through it all with me, and he won more events than I did, so he had a heck of a year as well.
It's crazy. It's crazy how those events go where you look at guys. I know when me and James was competing this year in the in Casey Reed's tournament trail he had running, and
yeah.
And James, you know, he won the AOY for it this year, and you just kind of look back, and I'm looking at people's points because we're doing the math too as well. Each event, you know, man, we got to be here, we got to be here.
Absolutely.
And you start looking, you're like, well, god darn, I know I finished better than him in these many spots in these tournaments. Why is he ahead of me? But then you look at the bad ones you had, you know, and you're like, man, when I had a bad one, it was really bad, you know. So.
Oh yeah, I know it.
But you know, you kind of look back at that stuff, and you're just, yeah, it's just crazy how this sport is. But James, I'll let you carry over and talk a little bit about fishing techniques and all that kind of carried through on the year.
Yeah. How much pre-fishing did you normally do for a tournament?
So here is my rule of thumb, and there's a lot of other people that will say, well, I can never do that, so I would never go to an event. I will not go to an event if I can't spend a day on the body of water. That's a rule of thumb for me. I'm not saying that everyone has to do that or that's like an acquired thing. But if I can't spend a day on the body of water, like, to me, it doesn't seem like I'm competing against people. Like, I kind of feel like I'm still practicing.
Yeah.
So for me, it's more, you know, the elites get 3 days. I feel like if you can get a day and a half to 2 days, that's really what you need, you know. And like I said, I mean, I completely understand when people can't get that much practice. And I've done it with less, I've done it with more, but to me, it seems like a day and a half. If you can get a day and a half, you can find an area where, depending on the conditions, you can adjust and still catch the fish that are in that area. And that's kind of the way I've went about it. I mean, there's been several events that I've had more days to practice, and there's been several days I had less, days to practice. But if you can get a day and a half, like, I feel like you can really, you should really be able to push through some competition.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes pre-fishing helps you. I'm just kind of a guy that likes to just wing it myself.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I just feel like I do better on bodies of water. But
yeah, it happens.
oh yeah. What would you say that your number one technique this year catching most of your fish was?
Man, some people are gonna laugh at me when I say this, but I would, if I had to say, the entire year, like what bait helped me the most, I would say a spoon. A spoon would 100% be the bait that did it for me. That's not just saying a flutter spoon or a jigging spoon. I mean, it's both. I mean, I used a jigging spoon a lot. I used a flutter spoon a lot. I used an 8-inch Ben Parker Magnum spoon a lot. But those would really be the top three. A knife spoon or a flutter spoon. There was a lot of tournaments. People really overlook suspended fish, and flutter spoons are just epic at catching, suspended bass. I mean, they really are unbelievable. I would have to say a flutter spoon or a biffle bug. That would be the two for me. I'm usually either trying to catch those, suspended fish or bass on the bottom. So, that would be the big two, though: the spoon or the biffle bug.
Wow.
What type of rod do you use when you use a spoon?
I use I use a 7-6. It's the same G Loomis flipping stick that I use. I just, I don't use it when I'm throwing a spoon, so it kind of doubles as both. Yeah. But if I'm throwing, so they make a mini mag. Nicholas makes a mini mag spoon that I absolutely love. And that's really the one that I like. It's the Ben Parker 6-inch mini mag spoon, but I will throw that one on my flipping stick from G Loomis. It's a 7.6 heavy action flipping stick. And it, like I said, it has the parabolicness to throw it out there, but it doesn't lose them either. I mean, I've caught a lot of 7-pounders on a flutter spoon this year, and that thing gets them in. It really does.
Goodness. I have a question from one of the people on YouTube. Are you running and gunning to get a limit, or just sitting in one area during the tournament?
That's a really good question. So Grand Lake, for example, that's about 4 hours from me. That was the closest open that we had, and I ended up finishing second in that event. That event in particular, I had an extra weekend to go up there and practice. So I had decided I was going to find as many places close to that ramp as I possibly could. As many ramps as I could. And I ended up having 6 or 7 places. In that tournament in particular, I think I want to say I hit 5 ramps before noon. I had loaded, unloaded, and went out 5 different times. And, had, I think, 92 inches, 91 inches or something like that. And was leading by 7 or 8 inches, just couldn't, the second day, the Grand Lake boat traffic is a little surreal come Saturday. We got out there Saturday, and I knew what it was going to be like because I'd been out there, but it was more than I even thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Not being able to launch until sunrise really hurt that second day for me. But no, I mean, Josh Stewart, he freaking killed that tournament. I mean, he had 84 inches, 85 inches the first day, and pretty much did the same thing the second day, and ended up skirting me by an inch or so. So he got it done. I think we were throwing the same bait though, so that may have been part of it. But the football jig / biffle bug was really good to me this year.
Yeah, I think you caught a lot of people off guard when you said something about the spoon. Everybody's like, "What?" Just reading through the comments.
Man, I literally can't tell you how many different legs I've caught a fish on a jigging spoon on. I mean, like Table Rock, it was every single fish. Every fish came on a spoon. And Taylor, like Toledo Bend, I really didn't have a very good event. It was some crazy stuff going on, and I was on a really good bite there. Like I really felt like I could have probably put up about 80 inches a day on a spoon, and I just, wasn't able to make it happen. But me and another buddy the second day went out to one of my spooning spots, and we caught I think 6 or 7 keepers off one roadbed, dropping spoons on them. So it works. It's just it's an impatient technique.
How many spoons did you lose this year?
God,
that's the real question.
Imagine that. If we throw the Lake Fork spoons in there, man, I don't know. I mean, like probably 20 plus. I mean, we're talking $10 spoons.
Yeah.
We're talking $10. I'm not getting them for a discount. We're talking $10 plus spoons. But I had a good time pumping spoons this year. It was one of the guys that works on my reels. He was like, "Man, what are you doing to your reels this year? Are you cranking a bunch, or what's going on?" I was like, "Dude, I'm pumping spoons." And he's like, That's why you're blowing so many bearings. And I was like, I guess so. But in my 7-11 reels, I replaced the bearings twice this year.
Good
and
Lord.
I solely think it was because I was pumping so many flutter spoons. I mean, I was pumping them. If I found fish, I was going to pump them. I was pumping flutter spoons. But it was, I mean, like I said, I caught a lot of fish on a flutter spoon this year. A lot of 4 and 5 pounders on them.
That's crazy.
Well, so are you just running points and stuff like that? Is that what you were fishing mostly this year, or are you just
honestly,
paddling around trying to?
So it was one of my lakes that I used in the state challenge a lot. It was actually in between 2 points. You had 2 points that ran out a long ways, but you had a deep spot in between them, and that's really where the 5 pounders were holding. I had another lake up in northwest Arkansas that was Swebco. I'm sure I've heard of it. It was that's actually a power plant. So I was catching some fish there, and there was 2 months I caught every single fish there. But on a flutter spoon, I mean, all of them on a flutter spoon. But I had another place that was in between 2 points where I had 30 to 40 5 to 7 pounders holding on it, and I would go in there, make 6, 7 casts, pop about 103, 104 inches, and just be done with it. I mean, it was silly. They were some good fish, and I mean, and I honestly it is a pretty cool little backstory of the place. I don't know if y'all know Mark Davis on the FLW.
Yeah.
He jumped to the bass recently. Yeah. He's actually from around West Memphis, around where this lake is, and it turns out that he learned to fish offshore on the same spots that I learned to fish offshore on, and I didn't know that until this year. They were like, "Oh, you're on Mark Davis's place," and I was like, I guess. I don't know. Because I had autographed the entire lake. In a kayak, I autographed the entire 1,600 acre lake in a kayak. And people have offered me an enormous amount of money for those graphs. and I'm just like, no, I'm probably going to keep these.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what to tell you. But like 2 of those guys got my number and were like, "Man, I'd love to fish a buddy tournament with you." And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I would too, but I think I'll just fish. I think I'll fish it by myself."
You got to do that. You got to protect those spots.
I do, yeah. I've got a couple places there that are kind of silly, so. Between that and, like I said, Swebco, I caught it was easy for me to, because the state challenges are a big part of winning Angler of the Year. I mean, they really are. and I didn't finish all that well in Arkansas's Angler of the Year, but I mean, ended up finishing well enough, and I think me and Garrett Morgan tied for Angler of the Year for Arkansas. And he was fishing a really, really good lake. He was around Atkins. I was fishing Swedco in another lake down in South Arkansas. Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it. Next year you're not going to see that be an element, and it's going to be really, really interesting. I'm thoroughly very excited about the Southern schedule for next year.
Hey, Josh, did you have any more questions that you wanted to ask him?
Well, I was just kind of looking down through the comments here, but somebody said to ask you about Bull Shoals, snow and ice.
Oh yeah, that was a good question. Yeah, so that's pretty funny. The first KBF tournament that I fished this year, I will absolutely never forget it. I mean, it was 3 hours from my house. So I had gone up the week before and tried to find fish, and it found a few fish here and there. It was pretty happy about the event. And I was rooming with one of my good friends, Brad Case, that event. And I woke up that morning and walked outside, and I remember saying, "Brad, it snowed." And he goes, "No, boy, it's snowing." And I was like, "Yeah, it is." And it came down for another 2 hours. I mean, it came down. And it was just like one of those things. I mean, it was just like first cast happened and I caught a fish. And I mean, I was on a really good little area. I was fishing for that tournament in particular. I was fishing the waterfalls, in the Ozarks, which is, I mean, it's a really common thing. Happens a lot that time of year. You see a lot of spotted bass pull up into those holes in the pockets. And that's all I was catching. I was throwing a little jig, a little biffle bug, trying to catch those bass. I was even throwing a Nico rig a decent amount that week. But yeah, that was a weird tournament. I remember coming out of that pocket at 9 o'clock saying I had 5 fish, and I thought I'd won the world. I mean, it was snowing. I went back to the truck. I was just like, I'm done, man. It's like, this is like, I don't have anything left.
That's miserable.
And I went back to the truck for about an hour and I ended up catching another fish later after that. But yeah, it was a brutal hour or so.
That question come from Fubar White Wolf. That's who that one was. Not sure their real name, but let's see. What's another question we got right here? Here's another one. It says, how much intel does he share with buddy anglers in tournament days, especially multi-day tournaments? Do you do much information sharing?
Man, that's a really interesting question. For me this year, that really changed. Coming from someone that's fished out of the bass boat as much as I have, where you're not showing it, you're not sharing information, you're not helping one another. And like for me, that really changed around Kentucky Lake, which, that was the second tournament. And, I mean, I absolutely, that tournament wouldn't have happened unless it was for Eric Siddiqui. I mean, like my trailer tire blew. My kayak, my pro angler Hobie was on top of my Subaru. I mean, no way am I moving that thing up and down by myself. No way. And I mean, I had a good buddy. I mean, absolutely unbelievable friend, Eric Siddiqui. And I was like, dude, I'm pretty sure they're in here. We can catch them. Let's go do this. And he's like, all right. And man, he was right there with me. He unloaded my kayak. He launched it. He loaded it. He did everything. And I ended up finishing 4th out of like 70 something in that tournament. I mean, it's things like that. There were several tournaments that they wouldn't have happened for other people, they wouldn't have happened unless other people were there.
Yeah. Well, it's also too,
you can't express enough for that.
Yeah. And it's also too, we've always talked about in our shows, and you hear a lot of the pros talk about never give up. and it's your mindset. You know,
Absolutely.
If you let it kill you, man, if you let it kill you, you're not going to do good.
Absolutely. I mean, let me just go back to that tournament in particular. I mean, me and Eric Siddiqui were on Kentucky Lake. I had four fish. 3 of them were solid keepers over 16 inches. And he was like, dude, we need to go to Standing Rock. You know, it's a really well-known area on the lake on Kentucky. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And we loaded it up. And, man, not an hour later, I came across a 3.5-pounder bedding. And I picked her off, and that was my fifth fish. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, I can't express enough what friends did this year. I really can't.
Yeah.
Between, you know, Mel Ash and Eric Siddiqui, I mean, there's so many people that were there when they really needed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's something like a Facebook post, something like that. You know, it doesn't even grant what they really did. You know, and I can't say enough for some of them. They were there when I really needed it.
Yeah, that's something that me and James have always loved about where we fished Casey's events, and when we fished bass boat events, we was always partners, you know. And it's kind of one of the things. If somebody lost a big fish, you know, hey man, don't worry about it. We're gonna keep on going, because if you keep somebody down in that mindset, they're gonna struggle the rest of the day, you know. So
absolutely, yes sir.
Yeah, friends are big, but let's kind of talk a little bit about what you think the KBF is coming into. I know there's some changes that they're. If you want to talk a little bit about the changes, because this is what we have going on, and I've been getting a lot of questions about it, and it's been, you know, a lot of people want to get into the kayak tournaments, especially like guys coming out of bass boats, but they don't understand how it all works.
Not knowing what circuit to sit on, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell you what I'm doing next year. You know, the Hobie events that AJ are putting on, I mean, they're absolutely phenomenal. The sport needed them. I think that they're great. They're absolutely great events. And it's very fortunate that only one of them fell on the same weekend as a Southeast KBS event. So, I mean, I am planning on fishing all of the Hobie events other than Shasta, California, and Chickamauga in Tennessee. And other than that, I mean, I am planning on, you know, being in, you know, South Carolina come February. We'll see how that goes. I got some good buddies in the area, so I'm hoping I get a little love around there.
Yeah, that's what is your thoughts about? Like I say, they're kind of changing up, you know, and I can't keep up with it because it's been some changes to it with Chad. But what do you think him kind of going more towards that pro series? Do you think that KBF will turn into where it'll be an actual pro series, kind of like the Elite Tour or the FLW Tour? Do you think that'll be a series where you could actually make a full living off of fishing professional series?
I mean, here's the main thing. You know, I would say about that is it's probably a lot closer than you think it is.
Yeah.
I know Chad is in the works with a lot of great companies, you know, such as FLW or BASF. You know, I'm not saying it's not one of those. But I mean, it's very close to being, you know, the only thing I really feel like you need to do. And I'll be completely honest, Chad and I have talked about this. I've talked about this with other anglers in the KBF. I only signed up to really do this 2 years, and, you know, here I am 3 years later.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I am personally really happy with where the KBF is going, you know, what's going to come about it. I mean, it's really exciting. It really is. I mean, you know, you're talking about fishing for more money than any other series other than MLF.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we don't really know what Bass is going to fish for this year. We don't really know what FLW is going to fish for this year. But, you know, we know what KBF is going to fish for. You know, and I mean, it's going to be some really good events.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that Southeast schedule is stacked. I'm worried about going to some of those events. I mean, those things are going to be hammered, you know. I mean, you talk about Gunnersville, you know, Santee Cooper, Lake Fork. I mean, it's a lot of them. You know, we'll see how it goes, though. I'm pretty much where I'm at with it. I am committed to. I will absolutely fish every KBF event that's available, but I'm really wanting to expand on my IFA in extreme kayak fishing schedule. I only did one sailfish tournament last year. I'm wanting to do 2 sailfish tournaments this year. I'm wanting to do 2 redfish tournaments this year.
Awesome.
You know, like Matthew Van. I mean, that dude has absolutely crushed the redfish series. I mean, I'm wanting to get in it with him, you know. Yeah. I mean, that dude is a hammer.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, like, you know, coming from where I am, you know, I'm only 6 hours from the salt. You know, I lived in Florida for about 2 years, and, you know, and I absolutely, you know, I adore the salt water. So I am wanting to branch my name to the salt water if the, you know, if the people allow. We'll see.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a tough transition. I mean, there's some really, you know, Rob Rodriguez. I mean, there's some great guys on the, you know, doing the Sailfish Smackdown in the summer series down in Pompano Beach, Florida. There's some good guys.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. But I'm planning on being there January. I think what are they doing it January 12th and 11th, I believe. Mm-hmm. I'll get one day of practice, and I'm pretty sure old Josh Stewart, number 2 guy in the KBS, is coming with me. I've heard word of Jay Wallen coming with me too. We'll have to see though.
Yeah. James, any questions coming in on the board there?
We've got a lot of questions. Nathan Green just asked,
hit me with
how do you score on a sailfish from a yak?
So what they do is they do verified catches, and that goes off timestamps. So if let's say, I think they usually shoot off around 7 a.m. And let's say you hook up to a sail at 8:02. You'll be documented with one of their verified catch boats at 8:02, and you'll be, you know, Cody Milton's in at 8:02 with a sailfish. And then it'll be, boom, another guy's on. He landed it, got the leader touch at 8:15, and that's the number 2 guy. You know, it'll go from there as people catch 2 sailfish and as people catch 3 sailfish, and, you know, vice versa. When I finished 10th in that tournament 2 years ago when I landed my sail, and I think they had 17 sailfish landed that year, which, I mean, that's unreal. I mean, you talk about 90 people going out trying to catch a sailfish in a kayak, and you got like 13 people coming back with sails. I mean, that's impressive, you know. And then that's what's so cool about the EKFT. I love Joe Hector. I love Maria Hector. They really do run an unbelievable event, and I've told people that for years. But yeah, I'm excited I am thoroughly excited to bring a bunch of KBF people to that event. We're gonna hammer it. I've been messing around with Josh Stewart and Jay Wallen, saying we're gonna take the top 3.
How long does it take?
So we'll see.
How long does it take to reel in a sailfish on a kayak?
So my first one, now granted, when I landed my first one, I only had 9 fingers. So I was still in a cast on one hand with my other hand working. It took me 54 minutes on my first sail, but some of my other ones have only been around 40 to 30. But yeah, it's a really weird story for me. I moved to Florida to work in the golf industry, and that was about 2.5 years ago. I was a scratch golfer, and, you know, that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to compete on the Adams Tour and work in the golf industry. And no joke, 2 weeks in, we went out there. We went out to Honeymoon Island State Park in Tampa, and I cut my finger off landing a 44-pound kingfish.
Oh, wow.
You know, and from that point, I've always kind of always been like, you know, every pinky cut off's another door open, right? So, you know, from there, it's really funny. You know, I've always said I know I could bass fish, so why not do something else? And you know, everything kind of came back around to that, and it's been really satisfying to see that. It really has been. It's been. You know, I get excited to wake up every day, to practice, to work at Beyond Boundaries, to do any of that. I mean, it has been an unbelievable blessing that I couldn't describe. I mean, if I was working at some course down in South Florida, you know, you wouldn't even know who I was. So it's been a great blessing in disguise for sure.
What's another question there, James?
Your favorite event you fished in 2018?
Ooh, that's a good question. I love the KBF. Like, I absolutely love it. And I would say the best KBF event I fished would for sure have been Grand Lake in Bentonville. I mean, it was an unreal event on two different lakes. You had one lake that was on fire, one that was so-so. But other than that, I mean, I'm going to go back to the EKFT. I'm going to say the Sailfish Smackdown of 2017. It was a really cool event. We had about, you know, and Joe Hector, I don't know if he's listening, I think we had 67 people. But what was so crazy was the second day, we only had 9 guys go out. That's how bad it was. And I was one of the 9. I mean, I was out there. You know, we pumped the Hobie Outback through the midst of it, and I actually jumped one that day. I actually jumped a sail that day that would have put me in second, but you know what happens? I've jumped. There's actually one day when I lived down there. I mean, I think I jumped 6 sails in one day and only caught 2. So I mean, it happens. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, it's a great event. Really looking forward to the national championship, though. I mean that the whole Caddo Lake setup's going to be a fun deal.
Yeah, that was actually one of the questions we'll get into here shortly. What's your take on Louisiana and going down there fishing with the gators? Yeah, if everybody's been watching this show, man, I've been paranoid about fishing with the goddamn gators. What is your take?
Well, my take is, if you come down there during March, you're not going to see any.
Okay, well, that's good.
You know, you're not going to see. You know, and I could be wrong. There's some guys that might know it a little better than I. But you shouldn't see many. You shouldn't see many alligators. But the fishing should still be pretty, you know, superior. But we'll see. I'm scheduled to go down there. I'm fishing on the Nacogdoches. That's where it is, with Jamie Broad, I think, on December 8th. Uh-huh. So we're planning on going up to hit Caddo for the 2 days after that. So I have a little better idea here at the 1st of December. But yeah, it seems like everybody's just saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to Caddo," right?
Yeah, I hear that.
It seems like it's a pretty easy. It seems like it's a pretty easy thing, and I mean, from what I know about it, I mean, it is. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Bistineau. I mean, Bistineau's a great lake, but you know, is it a Caddo? I don't know. So
yeah, it's so many different lakes.
I'm planning on getting 2 days down there.
Yeah.
So that'll be good for me.
It's so many different good-looking lakes. I was on Google looking around, and me and James was talking about it. I mean, a lot of the lakes look really good. You know, it's like, what makes that lake so much better than the others? You know?
Yep, that's exactly right. You planning on coming down with us?
Yep, yeah, we'll be down there. This will be our first year at the national championship, so we're me and James both are stoked about that.
Heck yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're trying to get up with some of the Virginia guys and maybe try to either find a house or something. I don't know. That's what we was talking about, but it ain't been a whole lot more talk about it here lately. Casey Reed's not the worst person to get with, let me tell you. Yeah, I'm going to be following Casey around.
That guy he may know a thing or two.
Yeah, it's
Oh man, he's had some good tournaments lately.
yeah, he's really starting to set the world on
He's had some
fire,
good
man.
ones. Oh yeah, I was waiting for it. I mean, he was sitting right there doing it, and it's kind of happening now. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes next year for him.
Yeah, he's done really good. Him and Brandon and all of them have done really well growing the Virginia Kayak Bass Challenge around here. And it's what James.
Absolutely.
I think we've had, on average about 30-some people in each event, James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's solid.
Yeah. I mean it.
Yeah, that's about more than we're getting on a state challenge day. So
Yeah.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, and I mean, we're fishing all kinds of different bodies of water with him. They've done really well with scheduling everything for rivers and lakes, and
yeah,
it's been really good.
Yeah.
Somebody asked.
I have a question.
Go ahead, James.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
We have a question. It says, do you pre-fish out of a bass boat?
So I'll go ahead and honestly answer this question. My grandparents live on Kentucky Lake. So yes, I actually went out with my grandpa this past national championship. But other than that, no, I never went out in a bass boat. I have a bass boat, but I never went out in one. And what was so weird about it is like my grandpa doesn't even have electronics, so it was like literally I felt like I was giving something up, like going out fishing with him. But no, it was still pretty good. They actually live up around Blood River, and I've fished the Cypress Bay area my entire life.
Yeah.
But I don't tournament fish down that way, so I'm okay giving that up. That's okay.
James, you got any more questions?
There's definitely some winning spots in it.
Oh, go ahead, Cody. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying there's definitely still some winning spots in there. It's just I don't take them, so they're there.
Are you happy about? Or I say happy. That sounds retarded. What do you think about how they are changing the national championship events now? I'm all in for it. I like it. I don't like how it keeps going to the same lake, and I think Chad and him did good on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I'll go ahead and give pretty much my entire opinion of the entire series. Like, I had a lot of people calling me complaining about driving 6 hours, and I'm like, well, you signed up to fish a national series, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's wrong with driving 6 hours to 4 events? And they're like, well, yes, I don't know. And I'm like, exactly, So it's like, I mean, my take on it, it's obviously at this point in time, I would love to see that thing on Kentucky Lake again. But I mean, it's not right. You know what I mean? I mean, personally, like, do I know where I would go on Kentucky Lake? Absolutely. And and I would go finish well. But I mean, it's not what's right. I mean, that tournament needs to be moved. It needs to be moved to Guntersville. It needs to be moved to Chickamauga. It needs to be moved to the Red River. Wherever. And the Red River is right for it. And and I don't dispute that. Whether the Red River's right for the last day, who knows? I mean, we'll see, right?
Yeah.
You got to get there for it to matter. So I'm not going to care about it till I'm sitting there close, on day 3. But until then, people can talk about it as much as they want, but you're going to have a bid in before it matters.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good because it kind of gives – granted, I'm not saying you got the same people doing good every event, but it just kind of gives some of the guys that live in Alabama or some of the guys that live in Louisiana, I mean, it's giving everybody a chance where they don't have to drive so far, to all of them. But
absolutely.
On the other hand, a lot of these guys, especially some of these kayak guys get it. Some of them don't. But you got to look at these big bass boat tournaments. These guys drive hours and hours to make these big national championships.
Exactly. And that was pretty much, and I talked to Chad about it, a couple days ago, and I was just like, I don't know what people expect,
Yeah.
Or they want to drive an hour away for 4 tournaments and have a chance to win a National Angler of the Year. Well, that's not national.
No.
I mean, national is competing from California to New York to South Florida.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any. I mean, obviously, for me, I won the thing, so obviously I wouldn't. But I didn't really have any dispute for how they did it last year. I thought I felt like it was fair, and I felt like it included, a lot of the country. But I mean, it's hard to include California and Florida. It really is.
Yeah.
Especially California and all that stuff, because they don't have a lot of participation other than when there's events in their state.
Yeah.
Which is hard to accommodate for. I totally understand that. Coming from Chad's standpoint.
Yeah, and that's the way I'm like. I mean, if you only want to drive an hour away, fish a local event. If you want to fish and be the best and try to make nationals.
That's what I said.
Yep. Yeah, you got to pay to play. Ain't that what you always say, James?
Yeah, I mean, I drove about 5.5 hours to fish one of Casey's tournaments.
Yeah.
So. And it's in the state of Virginia. So Dwayne Taft said he drove 19 hours to La Crosse.
Dwayne will get anywhere and still beat everybody's ass.
So I mean, you just get, like you said, you got to pay to play. I mean, if you want to get out there and you want to compete with the big boys, you got to get out there and play with the big boys.
There's not much to it other than that. I mean, there's really not. I mean, he freaking hammered some people this year. Did y'all see his big day 1 at Toledo this year?
Yeah. That was insane.
I was staying in a house with him, and I still couldn't believe he didn't pull that thing off. But man, he was close though, wasn't he? He was close.
That was a good event.
It was.
James, you got anything else for him? For Cody?
Not that I can think of right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through it.
People still. I'm just looking.
Yeah, people still congratulating Jody Queen, congratulating you.
That's awesome.
Several people.
I greatly appreciate it.
So, but man, I don't have too much more, man. You've talked about everything and give us a lot of great information, and we're just really looking forward to the national championship, meeting a lot of these guys that come on the show and interact, or watch the show. We're really excited to meet all you guys and get to shake hands with everybody, and so that's kind of exciting for us.
That'll be a good time. When are y'all planning on getting down there?
We're still up in the air. I'm wanting to get up there like Monday or Tuesday. But
dude, you're trying to win.
Yeah, well, I got to at least try to win this one. I sucked all year long trying to qualify for it. I got to at least try to win something.
Yeah.
So, but
that should be plenty of time.
Yeah. It'll be plenty of time to steer me wrong. That's probably what's going to happen. I'm going to get all spun out, but.
Oh yeah.
But nah. I just want to get. My thing was I wanted to start traveling and make sure if I needed to stop, lay over somewhere for a little bit, and I ain't in a big rush to get down there. So that was kind of the main thing.
How far is that for y'all?
Oh shoot, I don't know, because when we drove to Texas, James, what it was like to Houston, it was 20-some hours.
24
to Texas.
hours
to Texas. So I'm gonna say at least 16 hours, 17 hours, something like that, maybe.
Oof.
Yeah, probably.
That's a drive right there now.
Yeah. So I'm hoping we can team up with some of these guys here and throw some kayaks in the trailer and everybody just haul down together.
Hey, that's what I found out this year. You just got to find some people that'll want to throw on the back with you, and just keep on going.
That's exactly right.
That's what keeps you afloat right there.
Good team support. That's about what it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But well, Bud, I'm gonna let you get going. We're getting close on time here, but I really appreciate you coming on, Cody, and talking with us, man. It's always a fun time talking with you, man.
I appreciate it. I've enjoyed getting to meet y'all.
Oh yeah, looking forward to it, man.
Thank you for coming on. I got to go buy some
Absolutely.
spoons now, I guess.
Dude, there's no wrong spoon. People ask me what spoon you throw, and I'm like, dude, I throw them all. Just go buy one.
Yeah, a lot of them.
There you go, dude. The James Watson Worldwide caught some giants on that one, dude. It doesn't matter.
That's crazy, man.
All righty. Well, y'all have a good time. I enjoyed getting to talk to y'all.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it coming on, man. You have a good rest of the year.
Yes, sir. I've enjoyed y'all's show.
Thank you, buddy. Bye. All right, that was it's always a blast talking to Cody. I remember talking to Cody last. I think it was when he won Bonneville. Was it Bonneville? Was it I don't know. I'm getting my days, my tournaments off, but he's always just a great guy, full of life, full of energy. So congratulations again, Cody, on your AOY, man. James. That's what we always talk about. You know, you can win tournaments. You know, you try to win them all, but trying to be consistent. You know, I mean, you won AOY this year. I mean, you had some really good guys we fished against this year. It seemed like everybody in the top 10 you always had to worry about. You know, somebody was, and it wasn't just one person. It was always several people that were going to catch them.
Oh yeah, it's multiple people that catch them. That's for sure. And you know, it's nice to have that. You know, hey, I got to worry about this person because it pushes you even more.
Oh yeah.
And that's the thing about, you know, tournament fishing. You know.
Yeah.
It gets your adrenaline pumping. You're like, well, I got some big guys in front of me today.
Yep.
I got to pull it together.
That's exactly right, man. You know, I know when, like, you know, you first put in and you start fishing, and, you know, I try not to look at it too much, but you start checking the score tracker. You're like, God darn, I'm doing pretty good. But then it hits you. You're like, wait a minute. Dustin Good ain't got nothing on there. Wes Smallwood ain't got nothing on there. Nathan Green ain't got, you know, you start putting, you're like, God darn it, maybe I'm not doing as good as I think I'm doing, you know. But
oh yeah.
So you start pushing even harder. You're like, man, I know if I catch a 20-some inch fish, I'm gonna do all right. But yeah, it's I love it, man. I love the sport. I've had a good time with it. The only thing you know, a lot of these guys go out now and they fish during the cold months. It's not for me. I would in my bass boat because I can move around and stay warm, but I'm a big old wiener when it comes to this time of the year and going out sitting in the kayak. I might try to actually go out Sunday. It looks like it's going to be like 60 degrees, so I might end up going to the lake Sunday because we got the Pro's Choice tournament Sunday. So while them guys are out fishing, I might kind of fish around where everybody's been releasing their fish and Saunders there and see if I can catch a bunch of retreads. But,
I hear you.
But guys, I want to share by this hat again. Like I say, we've talked about it at the beginning of the show. We're just really excited. We want to share it with everybody. If you want one of the OneObjective hats, you can go on our website, oneobjectivebf.com, and get you one at $25 right now. We also got with their keel guards. I think the way the store's set up, you go in the store and you click on, I can't remember, like click on the keel. You'll find them, but it's really simple. But anyways, it just kind of help represent us a little bit, and they look really good. And we've sold several of them so far. UPS has got a bunch of them, so thank you guys for supporting us wherever they are at. Just want to give a shout out to UPS. Thank you. But anyways, man, that was a good show. James, I'm just talking to him. I'm getting really pumped about the national championship and the unknowns of it. You know what I mean? The road trip down, who we're staying with, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then the fishing, you know.
Well, it looks like we know where everybody's gonna be fishing.
Yeah, so we need to change up. Fish something different. 'Cause I ain't gonna be bumping elbows with a bunch of people. I can tell you that right now. I'll go to Red River and just fish with a bunch of gators.
Yeah, I'm gonna take every spoon out of the kitchen and go fishing with them bad boys. So.
Hold on, honey. Let me get my little grind, my cutoff wheel here. I gotta make some lures.
I know. Hey, you never know.
Casey said, "Keep the rubber side down." Yeah, man, I hear you. I got you. I don't want to. I hope not to do that no more. I've learned not to make stupid decisions like that, but you never know. I do.
Yeah.
I manage to surprise people a lot, so hope not to have that.
Yeah.
Since I've been in the kayak industry, I've done that twice, and I got lucky on the last one. I didn't lose nothing, but except the Costa hoodie. I never thought that would have sunk like you did. And my identifier card.
You lost your identifier card. And you had to find me, and then you had to get some fruit snacks.
Yeah, well, everything happens for a reason. I was getting hungry anyways, you know. So it was just meant to me to flip that so I could get some fruit snacks.
Yeah. How did it take you to raise?
Well, sometimes you, like say, you got to have good teammates, and you was a good teammate that day. I really appreciate it. I'd appreciate if you met me halfway, but whatever, you know. I'd have paddled all the way.
I was on fish. I wasn't leaving.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I had to go over there.
I wasn't leaving.
I did finish out, I think, my limit that day. I mean, it was some dinks, but I did finish out my limit, so I didn't. So, all in all, it was a blessing all the way around, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. I don't know what you call that, but it wasn't a great day, I can tell you that. And my paddle broke that day. I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, because I got to the boat ramp, you were ready to pull out, and I was like, no, you need to stay.
I was ready to put that paddle through the side of my trailer. I ain't going to lie to you. That's about as mad as I've gotten in a day of fishing. And I try not to because it's all fun. You know, you're not working, you're getting away. But, yeah, you know, insult to injury. Flip a kayak. Go find James, get some fruit snacks, finish out. Lost 2 decent ones, nothing major, won't be anything. And then the freaking houseboat started coming out, and I tried to dig on one side, turning the kayak around real quick to get hit on that big wave that was coming, and dag off my paddle didn't break. And then I got like carbon fiber, freaking fiberglass stuff stuck in my hand. Man, I was so mad that day. Woo, boy. God, man, I was mad that day. I was actually ready to end my fishing career that day. That's the point I was at. And then I go, the crazy thing was I go in the back of that creek where I started, and I see a guy, Bruce, back there fishing, and he's throwing a drop shot. And I'm like, well, man, let me go ahead and put my drop shot back on. Bruce is still catching fish off of docks that I just fished the same goddamn worm. And he's finishing his limit, and he's getting a check, and he's like, man, I got to leave early. I got to head on. So he just paddles on by, and I didn't catch another fish after that. I was like, man, what in the world? When it's your day, it's your day. And when it ain't, it ain't. And that day, it was not. Started off good, but it didn't go well. But enough about me. James, we got anything? What are we talking about moon pies over here?
Chris, he's trying to start stuff, so I had to let him know.
Oh yeah, he don't like no moon pies. He don't know what he's missing. I told him you can't get. Oh man. He talks about it. It's like chocolate cardboard with whipped cream in it. I told him, no, you're getting the ones from a gas station. You need to go get you ones at like Sam's Clubs that are already packed. They're fresh and soft.
Oh yeah, you gotta let them sit outside in the sun.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, just to get warm, just a touch melty, and they're good.
Oh man.
He don't know what he's missing.
Man, he
needs to just calm down.
Yeah, he get me started on some dang moon pies. Stopping at the gas station tomorrow and get me one of them old dry ones just to have one.
Yep.
But now, other than that, man, I don't have too much more to add to it. It was a great show. Had a good time talking with Cody. Oh, I know what we do need to talk about. Did we talk about our Christmas giveaway? Yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah.
we do have this giveaway going on still right now, guys, that are still listening. If you haven't subscribed, giveaway you see right there on the left-hand side is we're going to be picking from our subscribers, and they'll win a nice prize pack. We got some Jinko lures in there, some missile baits. We got a Suzuki hat signed by Brandon Card and Chad Pipkins, a Bassmaster hat, and a Bassmaster shirt. So if you haven't got entered in it yet, we'll be doing the drawing December 1st. So if you haven't got it in that, go ahead and what are you talking about, eating sushi? Yuck. But
I eat that too, because I mean, the moon pie is like, the
that's
snack
dessert
of the sushi world.
You can have your sushi. But yeah, go ahead and get into that contest and share it with your friends if you haven't. We got the video on our YouTube. Go share that. Also, we got some new videos that have come out. James, you did one on tackle organization on your jig box. You got one on your trailer.
Yep.
I got one on doing a day box. And what was the other one I did? Oh, kayak trailer. I did my kayak trailer. So we got a couple good videos up. We got a couple more in the works right now. Excited about getting them up. So just stay tuned. Go and like our page. Please, if whoever's on here now too, if you can hit that like button on this video, that's very important to us. We love for you guys to hit that like button, and helps us out a little bit, getting the show out there just a little bit more. So other than that, it's enough begging. I don't want to beg nobody anymore. It's not my style. But
please hit the like button.
Yeah, please, please subscribe and please hit that like button. But what do you say, J-Hash? Sushi is fancy bait. That's right. Catch them expensive fish. Well, anyways.
Yep. You got to eat like a fish to catch fish.
I reckon. I guess I'll never be good at fishing then. Anyways, guys, y'all have a great night. Please go check out our sponsors that's helped us out with this show, and it's going to be helping out with our Christmas giveaway. Stay tuned for that. James, I don't have nothing else to add, man.
I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great night, great week, and stay tuned. Friday, we should have a new video out. Talk to you later. Bye.